Welcome home. It's Irish Family History with curious news and notes, celebrating our 4th year of this podcast at the Irish Roots Cafe, where every day's a holiday and there's always room for one more. One of 6 broadcast series from the head school at irishroots.com. I'm Mike O'Loughlin, your host, publisher of rare Irish books and information on every county in Ireland since 1978. Be sure to read our blog, complete with links to click on from this podcast, and search our master index and books for free. Molly, wet the tea, Katie, bar the door, Sweeney, clear that floor, and bring out the Irish dancers. It's time we get this show on the road. Oh, yes, it looks like it's show number 176 for the Irish Family History broadcast here, the podcast. And, gosh, it's not only our 5th year, we're getting ready to move into our 6th year, even though that intro says, 4th year, 5th year? Well, anyway, by the time of the turn of the year here, we're going to be in our 6th year, and Merry Christmas to everybody. Hey, here's some of the topics we're covering today on the broadcast. The family name of the day is Smith. The book of the month is A Special Irish Census, and Searching for Lord of the Dance. And curious news, Quinn attacks a mountain. Number 5, the web page of the month is a baby Irish giraffe. And number 6, a curious note, what it means to be Irish according to somebody. And, the 1-minute podcast on the forgotten Irish in America, perhaps. Now, next. Oh, here we go. We got the notes from Mike, and that's me, so, what's been happening around here? Hey, we're forming up another new little group for the Irish Center, maybe. Maybe they could have a little home band put together. We had our first practice today, and pretty interesting. Hey, but what else is happening? What do you name an Irish giraffe? Well, we've got the news and notes later towards the end. We'll tell you how to get involved in that. And, one more thing. We just had our next to last Irish, beginner's Irish class here last week. That was great, and our thanks to Renata for helping folks get introduced to that. And let me see, today, Roisin Du, a nice slow Irish one, is one I've got on the Irish Song podcast playing today, so that's new and different. And number 3, Christmas in Killarney. We've got a little bit of that towards the end here on a video link. And just remember, when it gets cold this time of year, there's no fireplace like your own fireplace. Or that would be Neleantin Tan Mardahentan Fain, or something very close to that. And next we've got coming up our 1-minute podcast, and that's going to be on one of our Irish in America shows that we did several years back. It just struck me as a time when I thought about this again myself, so I thought we'd play it. And remember, we've got altogether, we've got 7 podcast feeds all the way from language to Irish history to Irish American history. We've got the whole gamut, so be sure to take a look at those at our webpage at irishroots.com. Now it's time to take a listen to that 1-minute podcast here. I think it's actually 2.5 minutes. I don't know, but here's a sample. This is the history of the Irish in America, coming to you from the Irish Roots Cafe Broadcast Network, one of 3 broadcast series found at www.irishroots.com. Please remember Robert Vinton Kennedy, who in April of 1851 started up the first newspaper in Kansas City, right down on Water Street. And that street, I think, the water may have swept that street right away many years ago. Now, in 1857, The old French settlers were toasted at a banquet here in Kansas City, but not a one of them was left to accept the honor that night. A new wave of Irish had settled in Kansas City by then, and you know what? I wonder if one day they might do that, and it'll be the Irish. Somebody will get up and say, "Well, I'd like to have a tribute to all the Irish Americans who helped settle Kansas City," and there'll be no one left to stand up. That'd be real interesting. You never know what'll happen in the future, so keep track of your history. Now, talking about new Irish that settled in Kansas City, it was a big deal after the Civil War. Things really changed socially, and the opportunities for the Irish really sprung up. A lot of people, of course, had left just before and during the Civil War, some never to come back. And they helped form the tide that took the Irish forward in politics and business, those that came in with the new wave. And, of course, the old folks were here to welcome them and get them going as well. A new day had dawned after the American Civil War, and that's part of... Well, that's it for the Irish in America broadcast sample, that little 1-minute podcast. Now we're going to move on to the book of the day, or the book of the month. We're going to do that in more detail. Well, let me see. We're going to do it a little bit different this week. This is going to be on our book of the month is going to be the Special Census of Northern Ireland, which is Pinner's Survey. And that's really an underused resource. People could learn a whole lot, not just the names and the dates and the people and which plot of land they were on or which plot of land they took. There's a whole lot more in that book, a lot of history and a lot of tells you about the life of the day, too. And it's got rare landowner records and historical notations, and it focuses on counties Armagh, Tyrone, Donegal, Cavan, and Fermanagh, and it has some notes on Derry, which is also known as Londonderry, and it has names of Catholics and Protestants affected by the 17th century upheaval, and it's a very rare census because, well, not too many good censuses were done, and this is more than just the name and the date. It gives some detailed locations and some family information, too, that you don't find in a regular census. But in the year 1618, Pinner was given orders to survey the lands that had changed hands in the plantation of Ulster. And, of course, that's the early 1600s there. And what improvements had been made on that land. You know, a lot of these people that got the land had promised the crown that they were going to make certain improvements and surely make it a valuable place. That was not always the case, though. And it also reported on the general state of the property. And I tell you, it was rough times because the Gaelic Order of Ireland either had fallen or was in the process of falling. And this was the early documentation of the new settlers of the land from Scotland and England and other parts. Now, the Gaelic Order in Ireland, had fallen with the flight of the Earls, and that's around 1609. And so we lost O'Neill and O'Donnell, and really the heart of the Irish resistance, so to speak. It really took the wind out of the Irish sails. And Pinner's Survey is useful for those researching that time period because that's when all those new family names started coming in, and it contains a lot more than just a survey of the land, I'll tell you that. And it includes the names of the owners, the names of the previous owners, and the relationships sometimes between those that are named in the records. And those names, of course, are tied to specific plots of land, and they're included in that survey. If you take a look, things like General Fleming, who died in 1615, is given, and it's noted that his son was 26 years old at that time and married. Well, that's all the detail we can give. I could go on forever, but we've got time limits here, so I've been chopped off. Now, here's the Magnificent Seven. It's time to raise our eyes skyward, give thanks, and ask for help. Number 1, Urban Kiernan of Chandler, Arizona. Your Irish Knighthoods book has shipped. Ashley Brown of Athens, Georgia, Your Irish Family's book has shipped. And Brenda M. Curry of Mattapoisett, Massachusetts, Your Family's a County Galway has shipped. Number 4, Donna Farley of the Solomons in Maryland, Your Book of Irish Family has shipped. And number 5, Virginia Mills of Archie, Missouri, Your County Roscommon, Ireland Genealogy and Family History Notes has shipped as well. And that leaves us Michael Bowling of Mount Bruno, Australia. Your items have shipped as well, and it's been a good week. Christmas is upon us here, and hey, remember you can check out our online family search list on the web page too. You can have fun doing that. We're about ready to update that after the end of the year turns, and that reminds me to say thank you to each and every member, because if you didn't check out our books, if you didn't join up and enroll as members, we wouldn't have the podcast. We wouldn't have the books at all, and they're there to help. And remember that 34-book set of Irish family history books. We've got books on every single county, and then we've got the master book that goes with those county books that covers, the whole Penelope of Irish family names and Irish families. So be sure to check that out. You can do it at your local library, too, if you can't afford those books. I know times are tough. We sure know that here, too. Hey, new section coming up. Well, it's the family name of the day, and that name is Smith. And we're spelling it today as S-M-I-T-H, and that's in honor of member Dina Adams, who's searching for Smith and McKiernan. I think we've done McKiernan before on a podcast, so I took Smith. It's been a while since we looked at that. But there's a lot of related spellings of the name, not just as Smith, but of other names that became Smith. Names like McGowan or Gowan were translated into Smith sometimes, and even names like McGivney and McCona or Goldrick or Going, they were moved into the Smith family line just with a sleight of hand, it seems, and it's part of variant spelling group 728, 733, 1348, 1358, 1897, 1901, and 3114. Boy, there's a lot of variation on that name. That's why we've got so many Smiths in the world. And you know that Smith is one of the most numerous names in England, Scotland, and America, and now we know why. And in Ireland, the name also ranks among the 10 most numerous surnames in a lot of studies. And in America, Smith is the number one name, according to one of the studies I've got. And the spellings of S-M-Y-T-H and S-M-Y-T-H-E, they're also found commonly in Ireland, especially in those old records. And families of the name arrived in Ireland from several countries, and it's hard to determine just which one they came from, and then they moved to America. And boy, once you find out they came from Ireland, then you got to find out, well, did they come from Ireland really, or did they immigrate from another land? And DNA might help you, folks, so keep that in the back of your mind. One family of the name is found as originally spelled as McGowan, not as Smith. That's the most famous example. And in County Cavan, many of the name are really McGowans. Their names were translated into Smith as well. Now, Keatings finds the Smiths as the MacGorans or McGowans, and they were driven into Donegal by the English, and they're found in Leitrim and Rossnever and in Cavan, according to that source. And and they're also given as a part of the Clan Rory in that instance. And hey, we've got a book on the Clan Rory too, the genealogical histories of the family of Clan Rory. That's an old line of Irish. And there's also some estate papers on the Smith family in Ireland, and they're at the National Library of Ireland in Dublin. You might want to check on that. And I also have a book, not a giant book, but it's just about the Smith name in Ireland. I got it about 30 years ago, so I don't know if there'll be some hidden gems in that or not. I'll have to look. And we took a look at the Irish Book of Arms for the coats of arms for the Smith name and to see just what we might find out. And Hey, we've got 5 illustrated arms for the Smith coat of arms in the Irish Book of Arms from earlier times, and that includes Smith of Dublin and of Meath and of Glasshouse and of Ballydedmon, County Cork, and of Mayo, and, there's lions on there, there's unicorns on some arms. Hey, you get the idea. If you have 2 coats of arms from families in different parts of Ireland and they have the same symbols on them, that just might give you a clue that they're from the same family originally. Hey, coming up later this episode, we've got Dublin is twinning with another Far East capital. I wonder which one that is. And of course, we've got that Christmas in Killarney musical video that you'll be able to hear by clicking on it. And the free master index online at irishroots.com shows several listings for the name. In one case, it's a name of Huguenot origin, according to John O'Hart, his works. And Smith, alias Warren, is found in the families of County Kerry, Ireland. So there's somebody who was named Warren and changed their name to Smith for some reason. And then there's B. Smith in County Waterford Genealogy and Family History Notes, and J. Smith in our Monaghan and Meath County Genealogy books. And then Smith of Cavan is shown in the index to the Tribes and Customs of the High Fiachra book. And Smith of Palmerstown is in the Families of Dublin, and R. Smith is in the Armagh and the Meath Westmeath books from our Irish Family series. So, hey, there's quite a bit around there, but I bet you already knew that about Smith, didn't you now? Well, now it's Around the World in Irish Ways, the web page and videos of the month. You want to have some fun with these? What it means to be Irish. It's a video by a storyteller in Ireland that I ran onto. Irish storyteller Kate Corkery tells us what it means to be Irish. Got a link on the blog. Number 2, Christmas in Killarney, the song and video. Go ahead and listen. It's an oldie but a goodie. It might be just a little worn at the edges, but hey, it's a good one. Number 3, Wexford Carol, a County Wexford Carol, perhaps. Traditional Irish Christmas hymn, and that's sung by one of those big choruses. So if you feel like a more formal tune that's tied to Ireland for Christmas, click on that link. That's number 3 on our blog. And number 4, snow and ice sledding in North County Kerry. Hey, they're doing it, and they've been doing it for a while, and you can, I've got a little bit more on that coming up. And number 5, painting on Mount Everest with Irish artist Philip Gray. Hey, now that's a different little video. It shows him up there painting Mount Everest. Would it be harder to paint Mount Everest, or would it be harder to climb Mount Everest? I don't know. It might be easier for me to climb it than to paint it well. Our 3 cheers for the artist, I'm telling you. And hey, we've got our own Irish video shorts, and I'm preparing to do another new season of that. Since our Irish song season is just ending up, I think I'll move on to the videos and have some more video shorts and answer some questions. And be sure to let me know if you got a question you want answered, and I'll put it on a video, maybe post it on YouTube. It's a lot of fun, so just let me know if you got a question. Curious news and notes from Ireland today. This is everybody's favorites. It's the last entry of each show. And number 1, we've got, hey, here's a Quinn, and he attacks Mount Everest. He's not drawing it. Mark Quinn is going to be the youngest Irish person to do so if he's successful. Climb Everest, that is, and will be age 27 if it works. And the current record holder for Ireland is Cork woman Samantha Carroll, who did it at 28 years old. So now 28 years old might be older than ever if a 27-year-old takes over. Got a link on the blog. Number 2, would you like to be buried with my people? That's the way you might propose to a fine lady in Ireland, some people say. And it's a very famous method, at least in legend. But the places to be buried are disappearing in some parts. And Here's one little island. They don't know what to do. They're starting to bury people on the road. Is that what that says? Link on the blog from the Irish Times. Number 3, name the baby giraffe at Dublin Zoo. Go to the Dublin Zoo Facebook page and join in. I've got a link on the blog if you can't find it, but hey, why not name a giraffe? Number 4, Con Moriarty says ice climbing has increased in County Kerry with the coming of extreme weather, and they say it's been over 20 years since it was as good as it is now, or as bad as it is now if you happen to be trying to drive on those roads. Got a link on the blog. Number 5, the Lord of the Dance himself, Michael Flatley, has chosen Beverly Hills as his main home, and that's over Barbados and London and Castle Hyde and County Cork. Wouldn't it be nice to have all those selections, and all you have to do is dance a bit? Well, it's a little more than dance a bit, isn't it? That's a high-pressure thing, and they say it tears up your muscles after a while. I don't think I'll risk mine. Number 6, China continues to rise, and it's now twinning with Dublin. That is, Beijing is twinning with the city of Dublin in order to attract Chinese businesses. I think that's because Dublin wants those Chinese businesses, and I've got a link to that on the blog. So ends the notes from the hedgerow today. Just remember, we do have 7 shows you can dial in and listen to, and we're getting ready to end the last season here, 3rd season of the Irish Song broadcast, and then we're going to start this Irish video thing, I think, if I can just find a time to sit down, upgrade my computer so this little camera here works. And if you want to, or if you want to get the Irish in America podcast started about the Irish in your local area, the folks who settled it or the folks who descended from some early settlers that are there now, I'd be glad to do that. We've really got quite a bit of ground that we cover, and I can only do 1 or 2 at a time, and then everything gets blurry. So I don't try to do all 7 shows at the same time, even though I have tremendous studios and a staff of thousands. But that's it for today. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. That's all for today, folks. Joseph, warm up those pipes. Remember, we have a broadcast series on Irish song and recitation, on local history of the Irish in America, and on 2,000 years of Irish history, as well as on the counties, and something special coming up on Irish language, I hope. We've got all that and more at our head school at irishroots.com. And you know, we've been known to appear, exhibit, teach, and even sing for your special events. Be sure to book in advance if it's important. And write me at my American address at Irish Roots Cafe, Box 7575, Kansas City, Missouri, 64116. Leave a message by phone at 816-256-3360. Reach me on my webpage at irishroots.com. Skype me at the Irish Roots Cafe. Get me on MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, and Irish Central. Members foot the bill so they get first priority, but we're open to all. And by the way, a big thank you to all of our members. And away.